So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a plan for your phone safe using the tools that are available in Google Slides. So when we're finished, it's going to look something like this. And so notice what we've got here is we've got a top view of our phone safe, and then we've got a side view of our phone safe. And these are full scale. So this is actually how big it will be in the real world if we printed this piece of paper out. So it'll become very useful to us in the workshop because we can use this to check when we make our pieces for the phone safe to check to make sure that they're the right size. So you're going to start with a blank sheet like this, and to do this properly, there's a few tricks that I'm going to show you. So the first thing we want to give ourselves some guides. So we'll go up here to View, Guides, Add Vertical Guide. And you'll see it appears here. What we're going to do is we're going to drag that across to the end here to the 0 point. You can see it says 0 there. Then I'm just going to hover over it so I've got that sort of symbol there where my icon has changed. Right click, Add Vertical Guide. This one, I'm going to move across over here to the point where it says 20. That's 20 centimeters or 200 millimeters. And that's going to be the length of my side. Then I want to get a shape, which is a square or rectangle. I'm going to start my rectangle right in the very corner of my piece of paper up here. So left click and drag and go all the way across to that line. Keep it fairly sort of narrow like that and release. We'll just make sure that that's snapping onto that there. Now, if you're not seeing those red lines appearing where it's snapping to the guidelines, just go up to View, Snap to Guides. Make sure that's turned on. Okay, so now we don't need the guides anymore. So what we can get rid of those, and we can just get rid of them by dragging them off the page and they disappear. There we go. Okay, so there's our side piece. Now at the moment it's the right length, but it's not the right thickness. So we're looking at this from the top, and the timber that you're going to use in the real world is 12 millimeters thick. So we need to make this 12 millimeters thick. And that's where these guides, the grid comes in handy because it's a 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter grid. I'm going to zoom in a bit closer, maybe go into about 100%. So I know that if this top line here is lined up against that line there, that's 5 millimeters, that's 10 millimeters. So if this is 12 millimeters thick, it's going to be in here somewhere. So what I'll do is I'll left click on that, drag that down to about there. There we go. All right, so we've now got a side piece done. So the next thing I want to do is we want to make our end pieces. So again, we'll go back to View, Guides. We're going to add a horizontal guide. And I'm going to take that right up to the edge there, up to that 0 point. Hover over it, right click, add horizontal guide. I'm going to bring this one in and I'm going to put it on the 9, which is 9 centimeters or 90 millimeters. There we go. Now just remember, if you make a mistake or you get lost, you can always just use the undo button up here to go back to a point where you've got what is on your screen matches what you can see in the tutorial video. Okay, so we want our rectangle again. We're going to start from this very corner up here. We're going to come out, down, and we'll make it quite narrow again because we'll adjust it in a second. So we can get rid of our guides again. So we'll just drag them off the edge of the paper and it makes them disappear. Then we want to move this into place. And there we go. We've got that lined up there perfectly. Now again, we want to make it the right thickness. Now the best way to do this, let's just move all of this so it sits right on that line there. So this is how we can do that. We just sort of click and drag over those two parts and then we can move it all. So just so you can now see that that corner lines up with both that horizontal line and that vertical line. Okay, so again, this is 12 millimeters thick. So 5, 10, so 12 is going to be sort of out here somewhere. So let's get that to the right thickness. There we go. Okay. So to finish this off, all we need to do now is copy and paste. So left click on that to select, Control C, Control V. If you're on a Mac, it's Command, but same thing really. There, same again, Control C, Control V. Drag that across until it all snaps together. Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to zoom back out a little bit to fit. Okay, so the other thing that we need to do is we need to have, so this is our top view, so then we need to have our side view down here. So we can cheat a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this side piece here and again just copy and paste it. It's the right length, but it's not the right width. So we've just got to fix that up a little bit. Now the timber that I'm going to give you is going to be cut to a width of 43 millimeters. So this is how we can do it. So right now I've brought that back to 10, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Now 45 is there, so 43 is going to be a little bit over halfway, maybe about there. There we go. Excellent. So now we've got a top view. So that's what it will look like when we're looking at it down from the top. And then this is our side view. Now what we want to do is we want to create some dimensions so that we can actually put on our plan the exact size of this. So to do that, we're going to go up to View, and we're actually going to change this setting here from Snap to Guides to Snap to Grid. We want a line. Now, if it's not there, just go in here and you've got your different sort of things, different shapes and whatever. We want to draw a horizontal line that's 10 millimeters long. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit. So in around here, you'll see it comes in like that, and I want that to be horizontal and about 10 millimeters. That's possibly a little bit too long. I can make it a tiny bit shorter. That's pretty much 10 millimeters right there. Okay, so I've got that. Now that I've drawn a horizontal line, I don't need to draw anymore. So again, I'm just going to do my copy and paste. Then what I want to do is, again, I want to have this line lining up. I want it to be aligned with this line, but just down this way somewhere. Down there like that. Next thing I want is I want another line. This one's going to be vertical. So perfectly vertical. And I'm going to bring it in here so that it sits just in from the end like that. Can you see how that sits in there perfectly? I'm going to select it. I'm going to put arrows on it. There we go. We've got some arrows on there now. So that's our first dimension, and basically it's our only dimension because we're just going to copy and paste that now as we need it. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do now is we've got to change this back to Snap to Guides. Then we want to grab or select the entire dimension and then move this end so you can see how that red line appears. So that's now perfectly aligned with that line there. Then we want to grab this line down here. And there we go. And now that's perfectly aligned with that line down there. So there's our first dimension. The next dimension that we want, I'm just going to go down here a little bit, is we want another one here. So we'll select it all again. Control C, Control V. There it is. Hover over until you got this move icon. We'll just move it out of the way here a little bit to start off with. We'll bring it down until we get those symbols that show that it's snapped to this here. Now, if you click away like that and you want to move it, just remember you've got to select the whole thing again if you want to do anything with it. Now we're going to bring that in until it aligns both. Let's see if that works. Yep. Well, we have a look and make sure that the amount of distance between the end of this line and the phone safe plan is the same, and this line here lines up. So that's perfect. Okay, there's still another dimension that we need, and it's down here. I'm just going to zoom back out so we can see the whole screen again. Yeah, so basically I need to put a dimension down here, but it looks like there's not enough room. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to select everything that's on the page. So we need to come all the way up here, click, drag and release, and move everything just up a little bit, maybe to about there. That gives us a little bit more space down the bottom. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to get a dimension down here. So again, we can just copy and paste one of these. So we make sure we've got it all selected, Control C, Control V. Then we want to move it somewhere right out of the way, just so it's not near anything. So we'll move it all the way over here. Then we'll go up here and grab that little circle. We're going to spin it until that number says 270 exactly. Then we want to move it again. So get our little move icon, bring it down here and get it so that it lines up with that edge, and keep it hanging off the side by about, you can see the gap there between this and the side piece like that. Bring that across until that lines up. Perfect. Okay, so there's just one more dimension. We just need a little thickness of the side dimension there. Now that's going to be a little bit different, because what I want one line and just one arrow. So I'm just going to left click on that there. Then I'm going to press my shift key and hold it, and then left click there. Control C, Control V. And again, just carefully, I'm going to move that out of the way. And you can see I've actually already lined that edge up down there. So we're going to bring this in. There we go, until that snaps to that. And then we just want to move it into place. There we go. And we can just check to make sure that they're lined up. Okay, so we've got all of our dimensions in. Now we want to put some numbers in. So we'll go to our text box, bring that in, makes it very big and long. Okay, we want to just type 90. Now the other thing that we can do is we'll make that a little bit smaller, but I want to center that. So I'm just going to double click to make sure that's selected. And then I want to just center that in the box. And then I'm going to move the box so it's actually in the middle of that line. Yeah, see those guides like that? That's exactly what you want. Okay, so we've got that done. So Control C, Control V. So instead of just redoing all that, we just copy and paste. Put that in there like that. This is going to be 12. And again, Control V. So we just need to paste this a few more times. There we go. This one is 43. Now just always make sure that when you're about to paste the next one that you've got nothing selected. And again, if that all gets messed up, just undo until you got it right. Control V, so paste. Come down here, get that in there. This is going to be 200. There we go. Okay, so really not much more to do. We do have to put in some hidden detail. So basically, to explain, when you're making the box in the real world, in the workshop, I'm going to have cut on the table saw a slot that goes all the way along the side pieces and across one of the end pieces. And that slot is for the lid to fit into. But we don't see it here. It's going to be kind of like hidden detail. So I'm going to show you how we do hidden detail. So we want a line. And we want one end to connect to that purple dot there, and the other end to connect to that. But we're going to change it. We're going to turn it into a dashed line. There we go. So this is our hidden detail. So now we've got one, we're just going to copy and paste. So we need another one down the other side here. We'll get it sort of so it's right in the middle there. We need a vertical one. So I'm just going to grab that end, attach it in there, and then attach that one in there like that. Then we need a couple going through here. So again, I'll just go paste. This one, so when I cut it, it's going to be about 5 millimeters down from the top edge. So it's going to be about there, and it's going to be 3 millimeters thick. So I'll paste again, bring this down. So around about 3 millimeters thick is going to be about there. There we go. So that's our hidden detail. Now we just want to label it. We want to label our views. So again, text box out here. It's a bit long. So I'm just going to bring that in just so that it comes into the edge there. And then I'm going to type, actually I'll bring this down so it's in the middle. There we go. So this is top view. Now everything is in uppercase. So put your caps lock key on. Top view. There we go. C, Control V. So we're just copying and pasting. Now this one is our side view. There we go. We're just going to put a little bit of detail in here so we can tell everybody what these lines mean. So again, I'm just going to paste. So see how I've clicked away so nothing's selected. There we go. Just going to put a little label about here. So I'm going to write in here 6 millimeter deep. I better spell deep correctly. Housing for lid. There we go. And we'll put in an arrow. So we'll put a curved connector in. There we go. So we'll go from there and we'll just drag that into there like that. Don't really like that, but so what I can do, I can actually grab that in the middle there, or I can move this around. There we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to go like that, but I want to have an arrow on it. There we go. So I've got an arrow on our line there. So now let's just go back and have a look. So we're basically now, whoops. We're basically now done. So maybe we should just give it a more realistic color. So we can go up here to, if we want to just select that, and then we can go to our fill color and try some realistic color. Now let's not be silly with this. Let's just try a realistic color because you do actually have to read this plan properly. So give it a nice consistent color that might look a bit like timber all the way around. There we go. So there is our full scale plan for our phone safe. Now this will come in really handy when we're in the workshop because we'll actually be able to check our pieces against our plan to make sure that they are the correct size.